Welcome, everybody. Welcome to 5 Point Play Reflections. I'm AC from the show. Today I have Taylor King with me. We're gonna start this new series where we get to kind of interview different people involved in sports and everything. I'm so happy to have Taylor on. Um, Basically about sports, but more than sports, about life. Because I think that part's forgotten a lot of times with athletes, coaches, people involved in the games. That there's another side to this whole thing. So I want to thank Taylor for coming on because he has an incredible story. Um, that spans from probably when you were a child to all the way
Yes.
where we are now, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been a long wild ride. So, um,
And I mean, just to start this thing out, I wanted to first and foremost, I wanted to ask you, why do this interview in the first place with us, right? Why did you want to kind of have your story put out there and kind of discussed in the public space?
I think it's just a good platform to reach out to some people that probably have a bad narrative about me.
Mm,
Which the narrative people might think is true, and some of it is true, right?
uh-huh.
I think that it just gives a good opportunity for me to, share my story in a way where the main focus is to help somebody else, and to set the record straight, kind of, about my journey and the challenges that I went through, both on the court and off the court, mainly off the court, and
Hmm.
uh, and I've been meaning to, like in a process of like kind of writing a book, so to speak,
Okay.
right? Where it's just a plethora of different experiences that I went through right before like the social media age day, where it would have been magnified by 1,000, right? Where
Oh yeah.
this is just a good opportunity. Will it lead to something? Hopefully, maybe not. But as long as it kind of sheds light on who I am and what I am and what I've been through in order to get to where I am now. So
Hmm. No, absolutely, man, absolutely, and that's what we want to do with this, right? We want to, if we can help somebody with any of these things, right? Like if any of this helps someone out there make a change, make a choice. That's what I want to do with this, and or like you said, change a mind, right? Like
mhm.
your story is one that is it's obviously difficult to talk about, difficult to listen to, maybe in some cases for some people, but it's necessary. And
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest part of this whole thing is finding that necessary story. So I want to start with your basketball life first because I know most of everyone who knows who you are, publicly, they know you as the basketball player Taylor King. I know I've followed you for a long time. Um, what kind of started your love for the game of basketball, and when did that kind of start?
It all started with my dad. He wasn't the best basketball player, I'd say, but I'm the youngest of four. I have three older sisters, and I was the only boy, and he was putting all his chips in my basket. Let's put it that way. And I played multiple sports growing up. I played soccer, I played football, I played baseball. I played every sport. And then, but my dad put a basketball in my left hand, and people don't really know this is I'm actually right-handed. I write right, I eat right, I throw right, I do everything right-handed except shoot the basketball, and I shoot the ball pretty well with my left hand. So,
That's correct.
um, yeah, so it's just it was one of these things where you put the ball in my left hand, and I kind of ran with it, right? I did, like I said, I played baseball and I was pretty good with my right hand, right? I was a
Hmm.
pretty good pitcher with my right hand. If my dad knew I could pitch the ball with my right hand or shoot the ball the way I could with my left, he would have put a baseball in my left hand. I would have never seen the basketball court, right?
Right.
I would have been a left-handed pitcher because those guys are making millions of dollars, right? Um, but I was so big. I was so big at such a young age, right?
Mm.
I was the biggest guy in my class every year growing up. And it wasn't one of these things where I shot up and then I was taller. I was just steadily just taller than everybody. And it wasn't until about third or fourth grade where it was like, okay, like I'm pretty good at this basketball thing. I think it's time to, and that's early. That's early, right? It was about fourth grade where I started playing on a travel ball club basketball team. We called it
Mhm.
South Coast Stars
Okay.
out of South Orange County, and I started getting to trainer, and I started working out and started working on my body, started working on my game, And then the travel ball was big for me because we played against the team I had was really good. We had a plethora of good kids from Orange County, and we were playing against levels above us. So if I'm in fourth and fifth grade, I'm playing against sixth and seventh graders, eighth graders, right?
Okay.
We were beating them, right? We had really good team. And I started this training. The coach of that team, his name is Scott McLean, and that I owe a lot to him. This guy's like 6'6", 300. He's a huge dude, and F-bomb this, F-bomb that. Like, I'm in fourth grade, so I grew up with the profanity era very young, right?
Right.
And so then I was playing on his team, and we went to the fourth grade nationals, right? I think it was in Florida, and we lost in the Final Four, right? Went to the fifth grade nationals, did that whole thing, and I started getting better, right? And I was the big guy. I was always inside. I was always playing around the basket, and we were just really good, competing really like for high level. And then when I got to the fifth to sixth grade time, we went to sixth grade nationals and we won the national championship, right? We were playing against like Nick Calathis and Chandler Parsons were both on the same team. Rodriguez was on that team, and there was a team from Florida, and we beat them, right? And it was like, we would play Kevin Love all the time.
Right.
Those are guys that I grew up playing with, right? Playing against. And so my basketball career really shot up, probably sixth going into seventh grade, right?
Okay.
Where I got a lot better. Like I was, I used to go to the beach. I grew up a block away from the beach. I used to go boogie boarding in the morning before school. Like I used to go to the beach all the time. And then it got to the point where I would live a block away from the beach. I just wouldn't go. I would just live in a gym. That's all I was doing, was living in a gym. Now, was that some of that my wanting to get better? Absolutely. But a lot of it was my dad, right? My dad was, boom, boom, boom. You're going to do this. You're doing that. I don't know if you ever heard of Marv Marinovich. Yeah.
No, I've not.
Marv Marinovich is like, was a big time basketball player, football player.
Okay.
His dad was Todd Marinovich is
Todd Marinovich. Yeah.
So Marv is his dad. And he was like, my dad was a lower scale version of him, right?
Gotcha.
He was crazy. Like, short story, I'm 10 years old playing in San Diego in a club game, and I live in Huntington Beach, just like 2 hours away. Playing in a game, and I'm looking in the stands, and I had a bad habit of looking in the stands, and my dad, everybody knows this, whoever followed me, right? They knew that I would always look for him for like approval. And I looked up and he was gone. I was like, where'd he go? Right. And after the game, I looked at him, nowhere to be found. Car's gone. Right. And I'm in San Diego, 2 hours away from home. I'm 10. So then I walk to the McDonald's across the street. I'm crying. I get on the phone, the payphone, right? That's back when you had to dial 1-800-COLLECT down the middle, right? So calling mom, and my head coach is in the drive-thru line. He goes, what are you doing? What's wrong? He goes, my dad left me. He goes, what? And let's just say and so he got in the car. I got in the car and drove me home. And let's just say my household was not a good household to be in. So, so that was like, that gives you a good idea of what I had to kind of deal with, right?
Sure.
Growing up, it was a lot of pressure, but I did work. I worked my ass off, man. I mean, I worked. And so when I got into my seventh grade year, and then seventh grade going into my eighth grade year, and that's when things kind of fucking took off. I flew off. So I got another trainer. I was still training with Scott, but I tried this another trainer named Jody Gardner. I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he used to train all these pros and be around. And another guy named Tom Lewis, who was instrumental in my career. He was Tyson Chandler's personal trainer forever. Okay. He's assistant coach at Mater Dei right now, where I used to go to high school. I broke his scoring record when I was in high school. So we have good ties. And so when I was in seventh grade, I was getting my ass kicked by Tyson Chandler, Josh Childress, Cedric Bozeman, Dejon Thompson, right? Guys like that were already in college, right?
Right.
Or Tyson that was already in the league. And I'm in the seventh grade, going into eighth grade. And I'm 6'4", going on 6'5", skinny, right? But I'm going at them, right? And I'm still competing and I'm still getting better. So whenever I play guys my own age, I was just going to work, right?
Right.
Because I'm just used to getting my ass kicked about these guys, right? And that's when things kind of took a turn where I was like, okay, I'm you know, I'm going to be all right, right? And in my 8th grade year is when I started playing on 17U, right? SCA, Southern Cal All Stars. Pat Barrett was the guy, right? And everybody knows him. And then I got to my, and that's when like I was playing with like Jordan Farmar and and guys like that. Kevin Love and I had been best friends since like sixth grade. I go to his house every summer. He go to my house every summer. So we ended up, eventually down the line playing on the same club team for like 2-3 years, right?
Yeah.
Brandon Jennings, Taj Gibson, Chase Budinger, right? Like big time.
Oh yeah.
And on the circuit, right? Playing we were at Adidas, a Nike team at first, and then we went to Reebok, right? But I went to the ABCD camp, and that's when things just fucking exploded. I mean, exploded.
And that's
go ahead.
You committed to UCLA your 8th grade year, did you not?
Yeah, so that's what I mean. So I went to that camp. I went to ABCD camp, which is the premier high school shoe basketball camp in America, right? It was bigger than the Nike camp. It was bigger than any camp you could think of. My freshman year or 8th grade year, the seniors were like Dwight Howard, Sean Livingston, Sebastian Telfair, Josh Smith, J.R. Smith. I mean, that was the last year you can go to high school into the draft. Yeah. And me, Nolan Smith, Michael Beasley, and OJ Mayo were the youngest dudes there. We were the 8th graders, the only ones. And me and OJ Mayo made the All-Star game. And making the All-Star game was a big deal there, like a big deal. Every college coach in America was there. And so Ben Hallen had just got the job at UCLA and reached out to my club coach, who put him in touch with my dad, who then we ended up going, and I ended up going to visit. But I visited with Kevin, and Kevin was with me, Love. And so, like the commitment to UCLA, I'm in 8th grade. I'm fucking 13, 14, right? I don't know anything better, right? I don't know shit. I'm like, this is awesome. Like, let's go. Like, I don't give a shit what kind of style they play. I'm getting recruited by UCLA. Anybody else getting recruited? No, right? And anybody else getting an offer at 8th grade? No, right? Like,
right.
And at that time, I was ranked the #1 ranked player going into my freshman year of high school in the country. And that's like, and this is again before, like I was in magazines, I was in newspapers, I was on the internet, and all that stuff. But social media wasn't like, there was no Instagram, no Facebook, none of that shit. So it was all kind of word of mouth and press clippings, right? This is where it kind of blew up. And then I committed to UCLA, and that gained major headway, right, throughout the whole basketball universe, the world, I guess. And that was mainly my dad's doing, right? He was the one that was like, you're going here, type deal, and he knows that, and I know, we all know that. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, so that was those are my youth days. So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th is when I kind of graduated in 8th grade. It just blew up. I mean, it blew up to multiple magnitude, right? And, my class was one of the best classes in the history of high school basketball, right? Like, absolutely. I mean, we had, I want to say we had 3 or 4 future Hall of Famers on that, right, in that class. I could probably name a few more. On my 12 guys on my McDonald's team, 10 of us were in the league. Again, 3 of them are probably going to be Hall of Fame. Harden's probably a Hall of Famer. Kevin Love, Hall of Famer. Derrick Rose, probably a Hall of Famer. So, Eric Gordon was on that team. Right. Michael Beasley, Blake Griffin, Singler, Jared Bayless, James Anderson, Cole Aldrich. I mean, like, I could keep going down the line. I mean, it was ridiculous, right? Right. But I was the #1 ranked player in that class going into my freshman year of high school, and that's kind of where it all, took off. And then it was a no-brainer where I was going to high school. It was Mater Dei. That was the best high school team in the country, and it was the closest one to my house. It was 25, 30 minutes from the house, and I'm a homegrown kid, so I was going there, no question. Yeah. And when I stepped on campus, it just was fucking wild. It was wild. So that's kind of where my youth days were. That's where my youth days were. And then, when I got to high school, things got really crazy. I was committed to UCLA, so I was going to UCLA for the for the pro runs, right? I was playing with Kevin Garnett, Chauncey Billups, like guys like that, right? Like getting pressed at and and fucking holding my own. And I'm in eighth grade. I'm freshman year. I'm 6'6", 6'7", 170, 180. Skinny, long, shoot the shit out of the ball, right? Tough, rebound, right? Not so good off the dribble. My skill development was okay, but I could finish around the basket with both hands. I could rebound. I was such an underrated rebounder for my size, and because I was just so tough, I had like a knack for the ball. My freshman year was tough though, so I went into a high school that had 12 seniors, and I'm the number one ranked player in the country. I'm going to UCLA, so the seniors hated me. I mean, fucking hated me. I averaged 14.7 rebounds. We lost in the CIF semifinals, and back then you couldn't get to the state playoffs unless you made it to the finals.
Right.
Underachieving year. I hated it. I wanted to leave. My coach wanted to quit. Like it was, I played for Gary McKnight, who's one of the winningest high school coaches of all time. So that's where I began my high school career. Then once I got to my sophomore year, I kind of stuck it out, and those seniors were gone. Mike Garrity was my point guard. He was a junior when I was a freshman, so he was a senior when I was a sophomore, and he's on the staff with the Cavs now. He was one of the best point guards I ever played with. I went from averaging 14 to like 26. I averaged like 26 and 11 my sophomore year. Sophomore player of the year, big time. Went to the high school camps, had Reebok camp, made the All-Star. I made the All-Star game every year I was at ABCD. My club team wound up being one of the best club teams ever. We went 68-0 my summer going into my senior year. So the accolades were just, off the charts. Junior year, same thing, right? Averaged like 28 and 12, 27 and 12. Senior year, averaged nearly 30, right? Then come all the awards. So, but between my sophomore and junior year, I watched and looked at UCLA, and I'm like, man, like I don't like the way they play, right? They're very half-court, methodical, defensive-minded, and I wasn't like, it's not like I didn't like playing defense, but I was more like running gun. Let's shoot them up, sleep in the streets. Let's run, run, right? So then I looked and I was like, you know what? And I never got to get recruited. Like I never got the feel of being recruited, right? Coaches calling me, it was quick. Like Bill Self came in when I was in the 8th grade, going into my freshman year in the summertime, wanted me bad. I said UCLA because it's homegrown. And so then I was like, you know what? I'm going to open myself up for recruitment and see. I might go back to UCLA. I might not, let me see what happens. And so then, I was getting bombarded with letters and phone calls, and this is when the rules were the rules, and now it's no fucking rules anymore.
Right.
So then I was getting my top 6 or 7 schools. Obviously, Coach K reached out, Roy Williams over at North Carolina, Jim Boeheim at Syracuse, Mark Few at Gonzaga, Tim Floyd over at USC, and Jay Wright at Villanova. And so those were like my main schools that I was looking at, right? And I had some other schools like Florida and Texas, and I could have went anywhere I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then so I took a visit to Syracuse. If Syracuse wasn't in Syracuse, New York, I probably would have went there.
Right.
Zone playing defense, shoot the shit out of the ball, right? Jimmy, how much to do whatever. Gonzaga wanted to do me like they did Adam Morrison. They wanted to run everything through me, right? Sounded great, sounds awesome. Didn't like the competition. Didn't like they played in the West Coast Conference. Didn't like how they didn't play. This wasn't my thing. Took a visit to USC, loved it, right? Loved it, but again, they had, I think OJ was going there, and they had a great team. They had a great team. Gabe Pruitt, Nick Young, they were phenomenal. What did it for me was when Coach K and Steve Wojciechowski, Coach Woj, came in my house, and I still got the picture framed, right? Came in my house and told me absolutely everything I wanted to hear. And that's when it was like, I'm running through a wall. Let's go.
Was Wojo your lead recruiter?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Woj was my lead recruiter. Same. I think he was the lead recruiter for Kyle too. So,
what was it that they told you that really that stuck with you and that made you want to make that choice?
It was the being a part of family,
Mhm.
being they call it the brotherhood, right?
Right.
It's the truth. It is the truth,
Yeah.
right? You're going there and you are a part of something bigger than yourself. And you know, me being young, naive, stupid, which I'm going to refer back to that quite a bit in this interview,
Mhm.
is I wanted to find the quickest way to the league.
Yeah. Sure.
That's what I wanted. I wanted to
Sure.
find the quickest way to the NBA. I was like, if it wasn't for the high school rule, I probably wouldn't have went to college.
Mhm.
It's because I had a skill set that was so NBA transition, right? I could shoot the ball at such a high clip
Yep.
that I could work on my body in the league. I could work on my quickness and I can work on all of that stuff. And I was still able to move and stuff like that. But I
Mhm.
could, like I said, with my ability to rebound and my ability to shoot the ball from a far distance and at a high clip, gave me a skill set that was something that is so unique, right? And something that
Yeah.
is undervalued now because of you look at today's NBA, it's a 3-pointer or a layup. So if you can shoot at 40% from the 3-point line, you're making fucking millions of dollars.
Sure. Sure.
So
Absolutely.
I was trying to find the quickest way to the league,
Mhm.
and so that was, again, high school career was phenomenal, right? One of the best high school careers in the history of California. I was like 5th all time in the state. I was Orange County Player of the Year twice. I was LA Times Player of the Year twice. I was Mr. Basketball in the state of California over James Harden when I was a senior. Like accolades were out of this world. Won a gold medal with the USA team, and so that's kind of where I was at. And stepped foot on campus at Duke freshman year, 2007 in June. And yeah, it got. I was stoked. I was like, I'm free from. I went to Duke, obviously for school, for college, for
Yeah.
basketball, right? Because of Coach K. But I got away from my dad.
Mhm.
I got some freedom because I was micromanaged for my whole life.
Yeah.
My dad lived very much vicariously through me and my successes, right? So the pressure was like still fucking out of control. Like I had an unbelievable high school career, but man, there were some downs. There were some downs. It was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, a lot of it
Mhm.
was a lot. It was a lot. And stepped foot my freshman year of high school, or freshman year of college, excuse me. And I mean, we'll dive deeper into that reasons why I don't know
Yeah.
where you want to go as far as with the career wise. College was a bumpy road. It was a really bumpy
Sure.
road.
Sure.
Um,
No. Yeah. We're gonna get there soon. Very soon.
yeah,
Because at that point you were at Duke. Like I said, we'll talk about kind of some of the things that probably I'll go a little bit deeper into some of the things that made this choice for you. But I mean, you started out there. One of the first games you played, what you had like 27. Like you came out just smoking,
so,
right?
so we played North Carolina Central. It was their first time ever playing against a Division I school,
Hmm.
and I had 20 off the bench.
Yeah.
Played Wisconsin at home, ESPN Big Ten ACC Challenge. Had 20 off the bench.
Hmm.
Played Michigan, top ranked team. Had 18 off the bench. Played Eastern Kentucky. Had 27 off the bench.
Yeah.
There was times where I played quite a bit. Now, quite a
Hmm.
bit is like I never got over 25 minutes a game ever.
Right.
Right? It was hovering around the 18 to 20, 15 to 20, I'd say.
Yeah.
And there was times where I only played 2 minutes. Like
Hmm.
I went to the Maui Classic. We won the Maui that year, and I barely played. Like I barely played. We played Marquette. I played like 1 minute. And it was so like kind of producing into these other games, and then I'm not getting any burn.
Hmm.
And again, I know why now. Why I wasn't right.
Hmm.
I know why. But still, though, it's kind of because like I could have produced no matter what I was doing off the court.
Yeah.
I could produce. So we come back from Maui and I had a great week of practice. I went out to Eastern Kentucky and went off, right? I had like 27 on the bench, was like tied for the most freshmen off the bench ever in Duke history, right?
Yep.
And then ACC plays comes in and I had some good solid games. At home, I was averaging like between 14 and 18 points a game off the bench.
Yeah.
On the road, I wasn't playing as well as shooting as well. And then like I said before on that podcast, before you guys, before with you guys, okay, we were playing 9-10 guys. We were number one in the country.
Hmm.
We beat North Carolina at North Carolina. That was, they had an unbelievable team.
And had a great team then, yeah.
Great team. They ended up winning the national championship the year after. And then Coach K cut his lineup to about eight guys, and I never got any much burn after about maybe I want to say 3/4 of the way through ACC, and then into the ACC. I played 2, maybe 3 minutes, and then maybe 5 minutes, and then maybe 1, and maybe not play at all, And so it was very up and down, very up and down. And then after the season, I again, referring back to my young, naive, and stupid, right? I was like, where's the league? Like, I'm playing behind Kyle Singler. We're graduating DeMarcus Nelson. Everybody's coming back. We got 3 more McDonald's All-Americans coming in. Elliot Williams, Oleg Chiz, I believe his name is. And then I think I can't remember who else. And I'm like, damn, like, I don't know. I don't know if, Lance Thomas coming back, Gerald Henderson coming back, John Shire coming back. And they weren't my position, but like Brian Zubek coming back, Kyle Singler again, like I said, Greg Paulus, Martinez Postus, Dave McClure. I think Dave may have been a senior that year, but yeah. So, I was like, damn, I don't know. I don't see it.
Right.
And looking back, obviously I fucking should have stuck it out. Do I think about that all the time? I mean, not really. Not really. I mean, looking back, I look at, I'm happy they won the championship in 2010. Should I have been on that team? Absolutely. Right. I would have. Right. I would have been, a junior, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, John Shire, and Gerald Henderson, and I got along with all my teammates. Like, I loved them all. I loved them all. Now, what I did off the court, I didn't do much with them. Did I get along with them on the court? Absolutely. I think I did. They might say different. I don't know. Kyle Nolan Simpson's my guy. Like, me and Kyle and Nolan were roommates, and we did a lot together. I hung out with DeMarcus a lot, and Greg was kind of by himself a lot. And so I like to party, man. I like to have fun, Right. And so anyway, so we'll go again, like I said, deeper into that.
Yeah.
But so John Shire, Gerald Henderson were going to be captains, I believe, next year, and they came into my dorm room, and they were like, "Hey, man, are you all in or what?" And I was like, "No, I'm not." Again,
how tough was that conversation?
It was very tough. I had so much animosity. I had so much bitterness. I had so much, why am I not playing? And again, I was so young and so stupid. I didn't realize why.
Right.
And, I thought I did what I was supposed to do, but I obviously, I didn't. So again, I wanted to find the quickest way to the league. So then, I told Coach K, I went into his office and I was like, "Hey, Coach, listen, I appreciate everything you did for me. I think it's better if I find another place." And he said, "Good luck. If there's anything we can do for you, please let us know." And that was it.
So it was that conversation was that quick, huh?
That quick.
Wow.
Yeah, it was that quick.
You think he anticipated that conversation coming from you?
Probably. Looking back, it was such a long time ago now. It was almost 18 years ago.
Yeah.
So, he's a smart guy, man. And, he's got eyes and ears everywhere. And so I'm sure he had an idea of what was going on. Again, I had so much like, resentment going on because of why I wasn't playing, right? Like, and why I couldn't contribute more. And so, I closed the chapter on that book after my freshman year. And then I opened myself for recruitment. And I have a family tie at Villanova. My godfather, his sister and brother-in-law are one of the color commentators at Villanova, and graduated from there and played there. And so I had a family tie, and I went there while I was still enrolled at Duke, and went to Villanova when Tim Floyd was supposed to be on a plane coming to see me in Durham, and then I had to call Coach Floyd and say, "Hey, Coach, I'm not coming. I'm going to Villanova." So I took a visit to Villanova, and I'm like, "Yeah, I'm coming."
So you stayed on the East Coast too. Was that by design a little bit too?
No, not necessarily.
You had family there, but
no, not necessarily. I chose Villanova because I'm like, I loved Coach. I love Jay Wright.
Okay.
I mean, they had a great staff. And again, no love lost with Duke. Like I was like, I'm just closing that chapter. I'm starting a new one, right?
Sure.
And so going to Villanova was an adjustment because I had to sit out a whole year. And that was tough. It was really tough. It gave me time to work on my body, but it also gave me time to do my fucking thing, like to do whatever I wanted to. Not whatever I wanted to. I take that back out. They didn't really like, all right, you're playing this year, like, so we're going to focus all our attention on you. You know what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't like that. It was like, all right, you're sitting out, you're still practicing, and I still produced in practice. I worked out every day. I was lifting. I got big. I went from 6'7", 190. This is my freshman year, 190 to 6'6", 210, and then I got to Villanova 6'6", 6'7", 225. Right. So I got, I went from playing the 2 in high school to the 4 in the ACC and then to the 4-5 in the Big East.
Yeah.
So, I had to put on some size. And that year I sat out, it was, again, like I said, tough. We went to the Final Four. We had a special group, really special group. We had a great team. And it was tough sitting on the bench, wearing my suit, so you fast forward to the following year, I was eligible to play. And again, we had a really good team. We were like top 5 in the country the whole year.
Right.
We were like second or third in the Big East, first, second in the Big East. And that's when the Big East had 11 teams go to the NCAA tournament that year. Georgetown, West Virginia, UConn, us. We were, really, really good. Really good.
Yeah.
And I played better. Like I wouldn't necessarily I produced better, but I was averaging 8 points and 5 rebounds maybe, which the amount of minutes that I was getting was pretty, I had some really good performances. I had 22, 23 against St. Joe's, Big 5 Classic. I had some really big games. I produced a little bit in that first round against Robert Morris in the championship in the NCAA tournament. I believe it was Robert Morris. I had like 10 off the bench. St. Mary's, I played a few, and we just ran into a really tough team. But again, my off the court issues were catching up to me now. Right? They were catching up to me. And I don't know if you wanted to dive into that as we're getting to this, because it has there's a reason why I left there, right?
Right.
It was man, that's tough. It was tough. It was tough because I had so much going on at home as well. Like my mom and dad were on the verge of divorce. My dad and I pretty much weren't talking, especially towards the end of that year.
Right.
I didn't really want anything to, I was just so done because, he was doing some, it was, the relationship was not great. And so, I left. I ended up leaving there, and then I came home, and I was at such like I didn't know what to do. I didn't really know what to do. I went from 2 major Division I universities, and now I'm home. Right, so I came back home. Was living with my mom, in Huntington Beach. I went to Kevin O'Neill just got a job at USC, so I went there on a visit. And I was prepared to sit out another year just to play at another Division I, a high level. I was ready to go. They were like, "Yes, sign, seal, deliver. Let's go."
Yeah.
Because of what happened to OJ Mayo in the accepting benefits type thing, and then what happened with Reggie Bush, right? They were like, "No, we can't take this guy." Under extenuating circumstances, they said that they couldn't take me.
Yeah.
So now I'm like, "Fuck, where am I going to go? What am I going to do?" So I played, and I didn't have much confidence in my game, right? Like because of everything that was going on. And so I went to my high school and played a pickup game, and there were some big time players there, big time. And I was the best player on the floor. I was fucking balling. My high school coach was like, "You're going to play somewhere. Like I'm going to help you." And so Coach McKnight ended up coaching Ken Ammon at Concordia through his club and knew his dad really well. And so he goes, and Concordia was one of the top NAIA schools in the country. And he goes, it's in Irvine. I can live at home. I can live on campus. I can do, I'm at home, And so I ended up going there, and I could play right away. So played right away. First team All-American, averaged like 15 and 8. And we had a really good team. I mean, really good team. Justin Johnson, Cameron Glidden, who ended up being NAI National Player of the Year the following year. I mean, they ended up winning the NAI National Championship the year after I left. I mean, they were really good, and we were really good. Ended up losing in the Final Four of the NAI Nationals. And at that point, after we lost, I had completely checked out mentally from school. I was like, I went to summer school going into my freshman year, going into my sophomore year, going into my junior year, the grind. I just couldn't do it anymore. And so I completely checked out mentally from school. And I had another year of eligibility. I only played 3 years of college basketball.
Right.
So I was like, I'm out. Well, first off, they didn't want me back because I didn't go to class the last semester. So that was why I didn't go back. Right.
Sure.
I was prepared though to go to summer school just so I could go back and play, but I really wasn't serious about it. That was 2011, man. And if you remember 2011, that's when the NBA lockout was going on.
Yeah.
It was very, very difficult to go overseas. Very.
Yeah.
So now my college career is over, and I played 3 years of college basketball, and it's not what it was supposed to be after such a phenomenal high school career, right? And not what I anticipated for myself. So then I got an agent, and the Canadian League, the NBL in Canada, had just originated. It was the first year of the league, and I got an opportunity to go out there and play in London, Ontario, and I played for Michael Ray Richardson. And if you remember Michael Sugar Ray Richardson, he's fucking out of his mind. And I played for him. We had a really good team. This is all his team he had in the ABA back in the States. And so I went and I played 6 months out there. I played okay. He had his guys. I didn't play much towards the end. They released me after 6 months. I came home for about a week or two, signed with another team in Montreal called the Quebec Hebs. Played out there. And those situation was fucking brutal. I mean, I was living in a 1-floor house with 4 other guys, and we were using the oven as a heater. I mean, it was grimy shit, but I'm like, I gotta play, The team couldn't afford to pay me during the playoffs, so they sent me home.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people don't realize that those overseas contracts, I don't know Canada's not overseas, but the international contracts, it doesn't work.
No, when I was my first 6 months in Canada playing for London, we had a big time owner worth $1 billion. I was making like $30,000 a month.
Yeah.
Nothing, right? Then I go to Quebec and I'm making like $1,800 a month.
Yeah.
$2,000 a month. But they couldn't afford to pay me during the playoffs, so they're like, we got to send you home. So now, 2012, I'm home in March. You got March Madness going on.
Mm-hmm.
You got the NBA going on. You have high school playoffs going on. You have overseas EuroLeague. Everything's going on. No one's home. And I had completely hit rock bottom when I got home from there. I didn't know what to do. I had no money. I was living with some fucking girl in Mission Viejo. I didn't have enough gas to put in my car. I was substance abuse. I mean, I was in a really, really bad place. Yeah. And that's when my substance abuse got really bad. And I wasn't talking with my dad. I really had no relationship with my family. We would talk here or there, but they weren't about to help me. And so from March, April, May, so that was about 3 months, 2.5 months, I was living like that, right? And it was, looking back, it was grimy, it makes my skin crawl, and so, yeah, I was drinking every day, and I was partying, and I was doing whatever,
right.
Not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, that's kind of where I was at that time. And something changed. My dad called me on my birthday, May 30th, 2012. I remember like it was yesterday. He called me, said, "Hey, we need to talk." So okay. My parents had gotten a divorce by then, right? And because we need to talk. He goes, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." Like, I was like straight up honest with him. I'm like, "No, I'm not okay." Like I'm in a bad shape. Now, was he like, "I need to get you help," or "I need to get you out of your situation you're in"? It was more like, "I need to get the fuck out of where I am right now." So he gave me some money, a little bit of money. I got some gas. I went to my mom's, stayed at my mom's in Huntington Beach. He's like, my dad owned a computer management company, right? Data imaging and stuff like that.
Right.
In Fountain Valley. And so he goes, "You're gonna come work for me." I was like, okay. And so this was in June, beginning of June. So I started driving around Southern California, 6:30 a.m., picking up boxes full of documents for him, and just making a little bit of money, and having a job, normal job, and that went on for a good month or two, and then I got in touch with a few guys that were really instrumental in my turnaround in my professional career. Ryan Forehand Kelly, who played at Cal, older than me, scout for the Nets, or he's on the staff of the Nets. His brother Tayshawn Forehand Kelly, who was big time. They both went to he went to Pepperdine. Was a good player. Jelani McCoy. So those three were pretty instrumental in my I started working out again. They were like, "Come hang with us, come live like a pro," kind of thing. They were still playing pro, both of them.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right. So I'd go work for my dad. I'd go work out with them. I'd go work for my dad. I'd go work out with them. And I started working out. And I was like, and I'm fucking hooping. And this is like, I'm still 23 years old.
Right.
I'm still, I still go. 24 years old, 23 years old. And so we're playing pickup. I'm fucking balling. So then I got in touch with a buddy of mine named Vince Camper, who's a Drew League legend. If you got to look him up, he's a bowling ball. He's fucking my guy. He goes, "Hey, I got this agent. He's a Taiwanese guy." He goes, "You need to come and play on this team." And so I was like, "All right, what's the deal with the team?" He goes, "He's going to take a tour team over to Asia. There's like 11 Americans, right? Here's the coach. His name's Paul Cofton. Dude's a legend, right? Fucking old white guy, got this swag about him." And so I ended up like, I'm still working with my dad, and I'm still working out. I'm like, I got this thing going on, and I was like, if this is a major opportunity, I'll try it, right? So went out to Asia, to Taiwan, played in a preseason tournament before the Taiwan Basketball League. I averaged 36 a game, 36 and like 14, and I was fucking balling. The best player on the floor every game, had 40, 45. I was like going off. I was the only American to get signed, right? There was a team out there that was like, "We already have America coming in, but we want you because you're lighting us like you." And so my Taiwanese agent got this deal set up. So now I'm in. And this money's like, I'm making like $9,000-$10,000 a month now, right? That's, and everything's paid for, right? So I was like, okay. And yeah, man. So then it just took off after that. So I signed with this team. And I played 2 games on the weekend, right? And I remember this. I remember like it's like it was yesterday too. So I signed with this team. Dashin Tigers is what the name of the team is, right? And I play on a Saturday, and I've had 22 points and 18 rebounds, and I sprained my ankle like badly, like grade 3 sprain. I'm like, I cannot. If I don't play, I'm gonna get released. I'll get fired, right? And I'm like, I'll do anything. So I put my foot in it, and we play on a Saturday, Sunday, so I got to play the next day. So I put my foot in a bucket of ice off and on for like 8 hours straight. I slept like 2 hours. My foot, I can't move my foot. And I wake up the next day, and I like ice in it again, and now I'm heating, and now I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. And the training out there is fucking terrible. The training, like training table, there's no None of that bullshit that everybody's got now. I cast that bitch up. I took about 8 painkillers. I went out there and had 22 points and 18 rebounds, and we lost again. And then I got released the next day.
Damn.
Got released the next day. Wound up staying at my agent's house for like 2-3 days. Big ass house. He goes, I'll get you on another team. So I signed with another team out there, making the same amount of money. So I'm like, cool. Wound up being MVP of the league. Averaged 29-15 on the league. Was MVP of the league, player of the year, and was made like 60, 80 grand in 8 months, 7 months,
right?
Which is pretty good, not paying for shit. So, and then after that, it was, I came home for a month or two. I went to the Middle East. I was out there for 2 months, came back home, went to Mexico for like 6 months, came home. Went to England, or went back to Asia for a little bit.
Yep.
China, Japan, little spots here or there. Came back home, and then I went to England. And England is where I kind of really took off. I was player of the year out there. Averaged, leading the league in scoring, leading the league in rebounding. Player of the year, like I said, and then signed in Taiwan. I signed in Lithuania, so I played in Lithuania for a year after that.
Yep.
And then that was awful. I got stories when I was overseas.
Yeah.
I had some bad ones, some good ones, right? So I was in Lithuania for 9 months, snow up to your doorstep, living in a hotel room. It fucking sucked. But the basketball was at a high level. Like Algaris, Latudas, Ritas, playing EuroLeague teams, So I played out there, came back, went back to England, played there, won 3 championships, signed a 2-year deal, was like, I met my wife out there, and my wife is British, and so that's where we were. Played 1 year out there, had signed a 2-year deal, played 1 year, and I was like, hey, we're about to get married. Let's use that money. Let's go back to the States. So we moved back to California, Orange County, and then I'm like, I want to still play. So then I signed with the G League, the Clippers, the G League team.
Okay.
Agua Caliente Clippers. That's where Dre Dawkins was my teammate.
Yeah.
Plumlee was my teammate. The young one.
Yeah.
And so like that's, we had Duke ties there. And then I was there like 3 or 4 months, and then the G League's very political, man. They like you play your 2-way guys, and then if the guys come down, you ain't playing at all. So I barely played. I was making a little bit of money, but the G League doesn't pay shit compared to what it should be paying when all these teams are making, which blows my mind. I'll never know why. So then 3 months later, I'm like, I'm out. I'm going to go to Argentina. So then I finished my career in Argentina. Was there about 6-7 months, made some good money, came home, was like, I want to call it quits, right? I was like, I want to start a family. And that was 2019.
Gotcha.
Crazy. Take a breath.
Right.
Take a breath.
Right.
Whew. So that was college and professionally wrapped up in a nutshell. When I retired, I started my own training company, started my own basketball training company, right? And that was great because I still had a huge name in Orange County, right? Started working at J. Sarah Catholic High School, which is in the same league as like Mater Dei and St. John Bosco. And I was one of my guys who I've known for my whole life was Keith Wilkinson is his name. He was the head coach. He's the head coach. Just got the job in May, and he goes, "Hey, come do the summer camp with me." I was like, "Okay." So I did the summer camp, and I loved it. I thought it was great. Got some clients out of it. I'm like, this is major money out there. Private Catholic high school, like tuition's like $30,000 a year. Like, kids got money. Kids got to have money out there, and that's not why I wanted to do it, but it was just a bonus. Right? I mean, I live in Orange County. If anybody knows Orange County, it's an affluent area, so it's hard to, live, so to speak. You're not making millions of dollars, and So I was like, this is great. He goes, "Hey, I want you to be my number 2. Like, come be my associate head coach." And I was like, okay. So I was the associate coach, and I had my own training company, my own club program, multiple teams. And I was still playing though. Like I was still actively playing. I was playing in the Drew League every year. Corey Maggette and I are like really, really close. So I played on his Drew League team like 3 years in a row. And it was just a lot of fun. Right.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. And I did that for like 6 years,
Mhm.
till like 2023, 2024, I'd say 23, and coached for like 6 seasons out there, five or 6 seasons, and then I moved to Dallas in 2023, November 2023. So I've only been out here about a year and a half, nearly.
Right.
I went to the NBA Summer League because I'm like, I want to start. I want to be in the NBA. I want to do something in the NBA. I want to coach. I want to do player development is what I wanted to do. Right. And I was working out Clay Thompson a lot. Me and him are pretty close. I was working out Maggette when he was doing the big three. So I was working out like Grant Jarrett. I was working out NBA guys and some college kids, and I love the player development stuff, man. Jordan Lawley and I are really close. I was working with him quite a bit. If you don't know who he is, he's one of the premier trainers in Irvine in California.
Okay.
And I loved it. Like I was like, I have this knack for training and getting these kids better, right? And so I went to the NBA Summer League in summer 2023, and I met a guy who I'd known from back in high school. His name is Rodney Hurd, who's a scout for the Mavs, or the assistant general manager for the Mavs. He goes, "Hey, I might have a scouting opportunity for you or player development." I was like, "Okay, great." So he's like, "I got the scouting job." He goes, "You can do it from California." And I go, "No, first off, it's so fucking hard to afford to live here. Just had a baby. My daughter was like a year and a half, and I'm like, we got to get out of here. Like, it's just mountains of debt. Like, we got to get out of Orange County." So we moved to Dallas, and we moved to Dallas because I'm like, okay, I have a job with the Mavs doing scouting, right? And I'm close. If they need somebody there on the floor, I can go help, right?
Yep.
I'll do whatever I got to do to, insert myself and do the player development stuff because I'm good at it. I think I'm really good at it. And I got this knowledge and this high level IQ, right, where I could definitely help. And circumstances that are out of my control. Rodney got sick with stage 4 colon cancer. So the job was like taken from me.
Yeah.
And that was tough, man. That was tough. Tough pill to swallow. Just moved my whole family out to Dallas. I know like 3 people. I don't know fucking anybody. Cubans like, we're focusing on you, your health. We'll worry about him when you get healthy, right? Never ended up happening. Right. That was a punch in the gut. Yeah. So then my wife was like, "You need to find a fucking job." So at this point, I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do, right? I want to do basketball. I want to do training. I don't know anybody. I tried reaching out to people that I do know, that I know somebody because in this industry, it's all about who you know, right? Right. And so I tried, and I got a couple clients. Ryan Hampton, who's RJ Hampton's younger brother, I was working him out for a while, got me in touch with some people. So I started working a couple more people out. But it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't, something that, that I could, create a living off of right now because I had no like platform yet, and I had no substance behind what I was trying to accomplish, right? So then she's like, "This job looks fun," and I was like, "Oh shit, it does." I work in law enforcement currently now. Okay. So I'm a corrections officer. Okay. And I work at a county jail, and I've been doing that for a year now. Gotcha. And it is a shock, but yeah, I really enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. It's fun. It's never a dull moment. Right. Think about a 6'7", 6'8" guy, fully sleeved up, 270, right? As a corrections officer, it's right. And I'm dealing with fucking murderers. I'm dealing with some pieces of shit, man. Like, fed inmates. We got like 500-600 people in there, and it's, so I was working nights, man. I was working 12-hour shifts, and it was a grind. Now I work Monday to Friday, 7 to 4, 8 to 5, and I do all sorts of different things. I do fed. I do all sorts of different things in the jail, and I really enjoy it. Right. But when I was out here and I would go to a couple Mavs games because Clay got a job, a friend of mine named Max Hooper, who does video coordinating for Mavs, He goes, hey, come play on Tuesday, Friday morning out here. We got former pros, former college kids, shot clock, game clock. It's at 5:30 in the morning, in Dallas. Come play. And I was like, fuck yeah, I've been wanting to play, right? So,
Yeah.
I go out there, I hoop. A guy I know who through playing, he has his own club program, has had it for 3, 4, 5 years. Played at Oral Roberts when they went to the tournament and went all the way to the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 or whatever.
Right.
Shooters HQ is what it's called. I'm gonna give him a huge shout out right now. Shooters HQ. And he goes, I was like, hey man, can I come help like in any way I can? And he goes, dude, we'd love to have you. Like, yes. And he's got a ton of kids, man. We do training sessions 5 to 9 Monday through Thursday. And there's 15, 20 kids at each session. Like there's, he's got some kids in there. And I've been doing that for the past 5 months now. And I love it, man. It's like, it gives me the joy of trying to help the young kids, right? And coaching and who knows where it's going to lead to, but that's kind of what I'm doing currently right now. I work at 8 to 5, I work at 7 to 4, and then I go do training 4 days, right? And then I do some privates on the side, and that's, and I'm at peace with what I'm doing right now. It's really, it's cool. It's cool. It's a sustainable living. I get to provide for my family while my wife is working too. And, I have an 11-year-old son and a 3-year-old daughter. So, that's wild, right?
right. But I love the word you use there at the end, peace, right? Because, I mean, just from the basketball side, the peace part you haven't had really a chance to breathe. Like you talked about like breathing. You didn't have a chance to breathe from, the time you were in middle school until you kind of found where you are right now with it. And because I want to go back now, and we're going to do this thing in 2 parts. Part 2 is coming up. We're going to record that. The peace part is big for me in speaking with you about this, because what you talked about, some of the influences you had, some of the things that you were doing while you were playing, and just that stress you had going through that time period in your life. Would you say that led to a lot of the places and things that ended up happening with you?
No question. Yeah, it was 100% the reason why I left multiple places. I hit rock bottom a few times, and I was an addicted personality, man. I hung out with the wrong people. I was doing the wrong things, and I'm surprised I'm not either dead, in jail, or in some sort of institution. It's a miracle. It's honestly a miracle, and it's by the grace of God that I'm not in any of those places, right? I owe it a lot. I owe a lot to some people, and again, having a connection with a higher power that I never had before. That was the only reason I am where I am right now. And it's 100% the reason why I left the places that I left, right? And did what I did. Again, it was, doing things off the court that I wasn't supposed to be doing, that did not put me in a successful position to be successful on the court. Is what I've told everybody from day one, and it's the truth, right? But I think this next kind of segment, I can go a little deeper into why and what I was doing, right?
Absolutely.
At what age I was started at, right? And all that stuff. So
we'll be right back. We're gonna be back with part 2. Thank you, Taylor.